Welcome back to Table Talk. I'm Brian Kell. Jackie Lawley is the president of the Grundy County Swiss Historical Society. The annual Swiss celebration will be held this Saturday at the Stoker Stampley Farm Museum in Grundy Lager. We welcome her to Table Talk for the very first time. Miss Lawley, welcome.
Well, thank you. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to be here.
Well, it's good to have you here. I feel like we need some Swiss mocha or something like that around here, but we're talking all things Swiss. Before we talk about the event, which I know has been an event that a lot of people get excited about, and if they've not been excited about going, they need to hear more about it. Before we talk about that, let's talk about the Grundy County Swiss Historical Society and what all makes, how that started and what all makes a part of that.
Well, the society started 43 years ago. In fact, I was not able to attend the first one. I was on a business trip in California and pregnant with my second child. But my father and a number of Swiss families from the Tracy City, Grundy area decided that they wanted to have an organization to preserve some of the Swiss history. We didn't get the museum, which is a full farm, until the year about 2000. So there was a plan along the way for having a museum so that we could preserve some of the old things that were used on the farms. And so it started out in the Swiss Memorial Elementary School, which is across from the Suter Farm, which is where I live. And that's about 3 miles from the Stoker Stampley Farm. And Rosemarie Stampley gave that farm to the Swiss Historical Society. She had been a member from the very beginning and was one of those who very much wanted to have a museum to preserve. And it just so happened that she was the last member of that family to live on that farm and to own that farm. And she had been there since her childhood. So it's been nice to have it. It's a lot of work to maintain. It takes lots of effort to keep the thing going. We're always asking for funds from various organizations. And a couple of years ago, the South Cumberland Community Fund gave us about a little over half of what it cost us to put in a pavilion, so that we now have a covered area for our music productions and for people to have lunch, and because they get to eat a little bit while they're on the grounds.
Yeah. That's a lot going on. I know that some people may ask themselves, is that, well, it's called the Grundy County Swiss Historical Society, but what, I dare say that you don't have to be a resident or even or have roots in Grundy County maybe to be a part of this.
That's right. It's something that we encourage anyone who has any interest in the Swiss history, family members or otherwise. And especially for the event, we like for it to be a community-wide event. We have a little trouble last year and again this year, I guess, with our attendance because of the tax day is on Saturday, and a great many families who would come to the event, or would normally come to the event, are probably going to be out shopping for that little bit of tax relief. Yeah.
Well, but they've got an opportunity, though. You don't have to stay for the entire day, but to be able to get. Right. So let's talk about that event. It's going to be, I think, 10 a.m. Till 4 p.m. This Saturday, and we've already talked about that. It's going to be at the Stoker Stampley Farm Museum. What can folks expect if they're going to come or thinking about coming?
Okay, there will be music all day. We have a band that has come many times from Nashville called the Music Meisters. And they typically play at German restaurants in Nashville. So there'll be a little polka time. And we have some people who decide that they'll get out and dance for a little while. And a band this year that we haven't had before called On the Rock, probably will have a little gospel. And I think they also do a little secular music. Then Bazania is a band that's from Sewanee that does volunteer band services all over the mountaintop, we call it. And they do a lot of folk music. So there'll be music all day.
Right.
And they just play in different segments. So they'll have different sets throughout the day. And we rotate those with the 3 different groups. Then we'll have food.
I was going to say, you got to have some food.
Vendors who have brats and sauerkraut. And that's a big request. So we always try to have a food vendor who can supply that. We have Fat Chunks and Dave's will be doing barbecue, and they're fairly new on the mountain. They served us last year, and they have the most fantastic ribs, and I hope we can get them to bring ribs this time.
Yeah.
Because they usually just bring barbecue, beans, potato salad, that kind of thing. But it would be nice to have some of those ribs, because when family comes to visit us, they always say, "Can you get ribs?"
Right. Yes.
So it's a great place, and it's located in Logger, which is formerly called Logger. We're now 2 communities combined with the mayor and community services.
And I know that one thing, we were talking about so many different reasons why people love to get involved with organizations like this, and there's a renaissance, I think, with family history, genealogy, things of that
Yes.
nature. So whether you're a fan of history or a fan of genealogy and just trying to get more information on families and just the history of I guess, the Swiss colony at Grundy, you're going to have a historian on site that also speaks fluent German, which I think that's pretty cool. So talk about Miss Jackson, I guess, that will be there.
Miss
I'm
Jackson
sorry.
will not be there.
That's right. She will not be there. That is true.
She did this book back in
30s?
the 30s or 40s.
Okay.
Yeah, when her parents were professors at Vanderbilt, and she was doing her doctorate. But Klopper Allman is supposed to be there,
Right.
and so he's someone you can visit with and find out a lot about, because he's become very interested in the history there. He also works with history of Beersheba Springs, and the Swiss colony, most of those people came through Beersheba Springs,
Okay.
because that was already an established resort community in the 1850s and 60s, that era. And then we have, we bring in a number of documents from the Grundy County Historical Society, where a lot of our material is stored. And we also have a room there that has a lot of Swiss information. We have a quilt that we display there all the time that has all the family names that we could put together, quilted on that, and with pictures of something that relates to each of those families. So there'll be a number of family histories that'll be available, so you can actually do some research while you're at this particular event.
I was going to say, you've brought the book with you. I'll hold it up here just for a second, in that this book will be available for purchase, I think, right?
Yes.
So not only from a, lots of history buffs out there, but so many of our viewers love local history. And so this is a book chock full of
Yes.
local history that can be found there for purchase this Saturday.
Yeah. It has the translation of the original protocol that the Swiss kept when they first came here, because they would record information, have their business meetings. They had like a community meeting where everybody had to participate, because you had to help build the roads, and you were assigned a section of road that you had to maintain, since they didn't have the road service. And a lot of that documentation has been translated into this book as well. Births and deaths and the original families who were a part of the Swiss colony. So that book has some historical information for people who are doing genealogy as well.
Yeah. I know that we were talking off camera before we started this, that you have roots and a strong tie to the Grundy County area. Talk a little bit about your ties to this area and what brought you back.
Okay. Well, my great-grandfather purchased one of the properties in 1885.
Okay.
So Swiss people were still coming, even though the beginning was really tough for them, because they built these houses in the woods. There was nothing, no cleaned fields, none of that when they bought their property. But people continued to come. The Bagenstosses came in the early 1900s and set up the bakery that's in Tracy City. And my family purchased a house a property that still has the original barn, dating back to that early 1870. And my husband and I have remodeled the house and kept the old part of that house as near the same as we could. So my grandfather was about 8 years old when he came from Switzerland. And when Marvin and I decided to retire, my folks had given us the property. My brother got part of the property, and they asked which one of us wanted the farmhouse. And of course, Marvin and I wanted the farmhouse. And our children really like coming there, and the grandchildren are also.
That's
so
great.
it's exciting to be back, and this, I guess, I can call my greatest endeavor since I've been back, is being a part of this and trying to preserve the history of the Swiss colony. And the school across the street is called Swiss Memorial Elementary School, and its property was donated, originally set aside on the maps for a school system.
Wow.
But they didn't know until 45 years ago. The county superintendent and his officials did not know that they owned it. Yeah.
Interesting. Again, just it's fascinating. I want to invite everyone to come on out and be a part of that this Saturday.
Yes.
But also too, before we let you go, there's several different ways that folks can find out more information about this, and that's a website and also a newsletter.
And anytime you get an email to us, we'll email you a copy of the newsletter. You just have to find one of these labels that has the Swiss Historical Society website or my email, which is on a lot of the posters and things that we put out. A lot of the news releases will have that on it. And we try to keep people informed of what's going on, and we're always asking for and seeking donations to help preserve it, because it does not have an endowment.
Okay.
So it is strictly up to the people who have an interest, who help to preserve it. And an old piece of property, you're looking at 150 years almost. We'll celebrate 150 years in 2019.
Neat. So
Yeah.
getting ever closer.
Yes.
That website, I know that you've got it written down there. I think on the give that out if you don't mind.
Okay, it's SwissHistoricalSociety.org. In fact, if you type in Swiss and start the historical, it'll pop up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
it pops up.
absolutely.
We were fortunate we debated about whether or not to make it the Grundy County Swiss Historical Society, but there was nothing that prevented us at the time that we set this up, which has been quite a number of years ago, to use it. And as a result, it pops up really fast on the internet. So it's kind of nice.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
if you'd like more information about this, there are so many different ways to do it, but the website is a great way to be able to do that. Get involved with the newsletter, and most importantly, I think in what you've said is that there's
And coming.
opportunities to
Yes.
come, find out more about it, and who knows,
Yeah.
maybe might even be a labor of love for someone out there watching too right now, because I know
yeah.
it is for you.
I recently had a work day and met a wonderful man who is of Swiss ancestry, but not anyone who moved here early times. But it was nice to meet him and have him come and find that he really liked participating.
Right.
Yeah.
Good deal. Miss Lawley, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, good deal.
Appreciate it.
Want to encourage again everybody to go on out this Saturday and be involved out of Gertley Lager, 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. Come on out and be a part of food, fun, lots of fellowship.
Hay rides,
Yes,
all
absolutely.
those good things.
Very, a lot going on, and be a part of that. Coming up next, Karen is going to be taking to the jungle with Logan Taylor to talk about Tarzan the Play right here on Table Talk.